Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears and your eyes. Diva Divine Light, live from Brooklyn, New York.
Know your lane for what you saying, yo. Said it with my 9 million with the dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, yes, I do my duty, yo. While up in the club, I be while in the studio. You don't wanna vibe, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, he moody, yo. Type of nigga that'll slap you with the toolie, yo. Bitch, nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that, look at shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way you shake it, make you wanna get all in the booty, yo. With no delaying for what you saying, yo.
Diva Divine Light.
Really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you.
You're watching Diva, the Divine Light. A fun-loving, caring, passionate person who talks about sex, celebrity, and real-life issues, and even abuse. So hit that like button and make sure you share the show.
Really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you.
Here comes the pitch, and it comes in wide. On the count ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears and your eyes. Diva Divine Light, live from Brooklyn, New York.
With no delaying for what you saying, yo. Said it with my 9 million with the dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, yes, I do my duty, yo. While up in the club, I be while in the studio. You don't wanna vibe, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, he moody, yo. Type of nigga that'll slap you with the toolie, yo. Bitch, nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that, look at shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way you shake it, make you wanna get all in the booty, yo. With no delaying for what you saying, yo.
Diva Divine Light.
Really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you.
You're watching Diva, the Divine Light. A fun-loving, caring, passionate person who talks about sex, celebrity, and real-life issues, and even abuse. So hit that like button and make sure you share the show.
Really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you really my heart to me. Fuck me, see this what you got for me. Put more than dance with my eyes to see. Still $1 in the place to be. If you.
Here comes the pitch, and it comes in wide. On the count ball.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back, guys. What's up, what's happening? Salute to OCOV in the building and all the Bushwatchers and the Ears to the Streets family. What's up, Ears? Say what's up to the peoples.
What's good? Wickmate 912 in the area. Kicking it with my girl, Diva. Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
salute to everybody. Salute the OCOV family. Much love to y'all. It's nice to finally come across y'all.
Yes, we're crossing platforms. We are. We are. Awesome. True Strong Warrior. What's up, sister?
Salute,
Hey,
strong warrior.
how y'all doing?
We good.
Can you
We good. We good.
So
Yes, I
let's
hear you
um,
fine.
can I just address my people real quick so they'll know what's going on?
Of course.
Okay,
Please
salute to
do.
all my people over there, all my wabbit hunters. I see y'all coming in. We had a live schedule for 9 o'clock, so I know everybody's just sending. Everybody's probably just seeing this, and they probably just kind of coming in late, but we know y'all coming. But anyway, we got some special guests. Of course, y'all know Miss Diva Divine and True Strong Warrior. I want to make sure I can't give you. Well, I can. If you could type something in my chat, I can give you a mod. That way, you could drop your link to your channel.
okay?
Yes, I don't know if um True
But
Strong. Did he sound like he was breaking up to you, or is it
A
just me?
little bit.
I'm
Okay.
breaking up.
Yeah, a
How about
little bit.
now? How I sound now? Might-
You sound better now. For some reason, it keeps getting choppy and stuff.
Okay, maybe I just need to stay my ass up on the mic. I was kind of moving back and forth.
Yeah, listen, I've been through many mics. I've been through many mics. I know the issue.
Bet, bet.
All right, so guys, hey, what's up, Wabbit Hunters in the building? What's up, everybody? OCOV. Well, today we're gonna talk about, our favorite character, the king of kids, you know, the king of R&B, and we're gonna go through the testimony of Anna. She was an uncharged act in his New York trial, which is where he got the RICO charges at. All right. But before we get to all of that, we're gonna spin into a little bit because our friend here ears he's going through some stuff with Kwame Brown, and
Can
a
y'all
lot
hear
of
me?
us have been catching up with Kwame, and trying to figure out what's going on in that Kwame sector and stuff, right? Now this gentleman here is has an issue because Kwame is trying to attack him because of a young lady he was dating in his past, and she was young, and he was an adult in his 20s. Now, we all know that in the state of Georgia, the legal age of consent is 16, right? Okay. I believe Ears was about 22 or 23, he said,
Yeah,
right?
23. Yes, when I turned.
23. He was 23 years of age, and she was 17. So Kwame is trying to put him down because he dated this young lady when he was 23 and she was 17. But he initially didn't have any contact with her sexually until they were 18, until she was 18. So now we found out a little tea that Kwame your YouTube is on or your mic is too loud, ears. Go on
Oh,
mute.
okay. Hold on, let me kill my YouTube.
Yeah. So we found out a little tea. So I would like True Strong Warrior to present the tea.
Oh Lord.
You know the story, you know what I mean? You know
Yeah,
the
but
story. This is her something that she knows about Kwame that she's um heard of. Okay? So we're going to go with that like that, okay?
well, this is the thing. I was watching the Kwame guy or whatever, and I was listening to what he was saying about ears, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, because um, what do I have to say? Alleged, because Kwame, I know that he his water's not clean, meaning that he messed with teenagers, and that's why I kept typing a certain particular name in his chat, because I know that someone had a baby with him when she was 15. So why is that how come it's okay to expose this when you have your own story to talk about? Let's talk about the young lady who had a baby at 15. Let's talk about
Surprise,
that person.
surprise. Well, if that's not calling the kettle black, I don't know what is.
I don't know what is because I've been called a molester, I've been called a groomer, I've been called a pedophile, but I've never messed with like. I mean, come on, bro.
At
What's
the end
you
of
know
the
if he
day,
was in the
is
NBA at the time?
you know what is at the end of the day, my thing is my opinion of all of this is morally it doesn't look right, right? For me, right? But by the law, you committed no crime.
He committed a crime though, because that girl
He
was 15.
she
Was
was
he in the
15.
NBA at
You
the time? Do you
committed
know
no
if
crime. But he did. He did because allegedly the girl was 15 and he was in his 20s. And in the state of Georgia, it's 16 is the legal age of consent. So who committed the crime? You or him? Right. Okay. So I
that
think
He
girl?
he
it's
he
Kwame.
committed a crime.
Right. Kwame committed the crime.
How
You went by
sure are
legal age of consent. So you
I
didn't
am
do anything wrong.
100% positive that this has happened.
you are
You know,
100%
I
positive?
am 100%
Do you
positive.
happen to know the person?
Yes, I
Person?
do.
Hmm.
We
The
got
the
facts
person
over
is
here.
the person is blood related.
Oh,
Right.
you and the person are blood related.
Mhm.
So what was said when this baby was conceived? I mean, by him, family. I mean, as much as you.
They were trying to say, "Oh, she, they weren't even concerned about the age difference. They thought she got pregnant on purpose because he was just getting, the NBA thing together. They were more concerned about that. And not only did you make this child with my 15-year-old relative, you walked away. You never even seen this child because my family told you they didn't want nothing to do with you or your money. But you still chose to walk away from the child. You ain't never seen this child, and that child looked just like you.
Wow, just like him?
Wow. We won't reveal her pictures,
No,
but
Yeah,
we're not
because
gonna
we
put
know
her
we know
pictures.
what he did with the last time we exposed him. So we're not gonna put the lady in the line of danger. He
that's
knows who
right.
she is.
He
He
Now,
knows
definitely
who
know
she
who she is
is.
because I put her name in your chat and you blocked me.
why did you block this lady when she put that name in your chat, Kwame?
Mm,
Mm,
mm.
mm.
Why wasn't you answering my questions?
Now, now, Kwame, you've been calling me all of this, but you've been knowing this whole time. You a fucking deadbeat for one. I mean, regardless if you made a mistake, sir. I mean, here you is, you go and abandon the child. You abandon a 15-year-old young lady after you chose to fucking stick your shit in her.
Yeah.
And then deny it because you don't want to be looked at as a Karl Malone in the league. No wonder you was so friendly about what Karl Malone did.
No wonder why he's got R. Kelly's back and he understands the law is the law.
Right. It's
Well,
making sense now,
look.
y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when he said that, I was like, wait a minute. Are you serious here? Like, how could you ever talk about anybody else? You know what I mean? Her family had her back. Her family raised your damn child.
mm,
You
and
know?
you was a
Hey,
deadbeat dad.
listen, man,
Not
Oh,
alone did you
by
break
by
the
by
law,
the
but you
way,
was a
I don't know
deadbeat
if he
dad.
even I don't even know this. By the way, you have a 14-year-old daughter.
Mm, mm,
wow. So
mm,
you leave a beautiful young lady out here to fend for herself because you don't want to take accountability.
mm.
Wow.
That is a sad situation, and you out here looking crazy, talking about que di que man this, man that, and this and the, and what is it? He said that he was going through a child support case and all this shit, and it's been mad years, and you're still fighting, and what? Why are you fighting? You should be paying the child support, and that's it. You shouldn't be going back and forth, back and forth. What the fuck you mean back and forth, back and forth? There should be no back and forth. It should be you do what you do for your child, and that's
What
it.
you
Because
do?
you the
What you got
pops,
to complain about? You made a lot of money. That's your child. You should have got
right?
controlled yourself, and now you pay the damn price.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, if you can lay in bed and make them, I mean, you should be able to pay for them too. And
Right.
especially if you know it's your blood, that's your DNA, and you can't deny it. So now you looking out here like a whole deadbeat dad.
I get it. Y'all saying make
And
sure I know it
it's
really
it's
happened. And that's true. We're making sure that it really happened.
it
Trust me,
happened. And
she
to
she
be
definitely got some details that only a person could know because
okay,
she's not from Brunswick.
she no, I live in Jersey. She she lived on York Road in Brunswick, Georgia. That should give him a clue.
That's in
Oh,
Farewell Oak. I know exactly where York Road is in Brunswick, Georgia, in Farewell Oak.
oh! The clue was dropped.
Kwame, are you familiar with a girl that stayed on York Road in Brunswick, Georgia? Hint, hint.
Hint, hint, wink,
He don't
wink, dude,
he don't
wink,
need no
wink.
hint. He does not need
Right?
a
We don't
hint.
need no name.
He knows exactly what I'm talking about. And on top of that, I did text her to tell her to call me because I mean she has been holding that in for a long time. She may want to get that up off her chest.
Thank you, liar.
She might want to get that off. See if she want to get that off of her chest. Because it, the thing about it, we just know how Kwame attacks women. He
Mm,
will attack her to the fullest. So I'm a little cautious about
right,
He
right.
won't attack her if he found out who she married now. I guarantee you he won't attack her.
oh, you won't? Okay. Oh, okay, okay. So she got her real protector right now. She
Yeah,
ain't gonna come
she
out here and
got
get all
married.
She's moved on with life, right?
oh, okay, okay. Well, long as she protected, because he like to attack women that he feel like, he can use his money to throw around and all that stuff, because he's
His
so
money
called
ain't longer than his.
that
She
again.
married up.
Well,
So she married up.
She married up.
Shit. Damn. Oh yeah, that might hurt that nigga feelings because he swear he the gift the guy's gift to women. That might hurt that nigga feelings.
Yeah, it'll be all right. But I mean, I just thought it was just mean and like I just went the first time I heard him was because of another blogger who was talking about him. So I went to see him and he was talking about you. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's the difference in what you did?
right.
Wow. And see, this woman said she didn't even watch Kwame until till she seen him in somebody else's chat.
Yeah, I think
And
her,
she
her
dropped
it was
him
a
in my
sister
chat and
T.
she asked the
She was
nigga,
over
because
there.
he was in my chat earlier. Her and Diva kept asking him, "Hey, what about such and such? What
Yep.
about?" And
Yeah, I kept
she put
typing
the girl
that
to
name.
listen to me.
And he ran out the chat. He
He ran
literally
out that chat.
ran out.
Then when
We
she went
ran
back
him
to chat,
out.
he blocked her when she put that in there. Wow. So we know who the real teenage lover, we know who the real predator is now. And we see why all this been coming at ears. Wow.
Yeah, just stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
He need to stop the cat, man.
I
But I
mean,
understand
it's
you have a
Right. It's like the whole kettle calling it black.
yeah.
It's
I have
crazy.
another a live to attend on my brother's channel.
Yes.
right.
Thank you for the tea, Sister Warrior. We
No
love you.
problem.
Please make
That's why
sure
we
you
had to get
follow her
ready.
channel. Warrior, drop your link in the chat. Please follow my sister's channel. Thank you.
I thought I
All right,
did.
I
Hold
gave
on.
you a mod stick in my chat so you can drop your link in my
Yeah,
chat.
do it again, Mama.
I just did it.
Okay, sweetheart.
All right. Thank y'all.
I'm gonna
You're
get you
welcome,
back on
mommy.
there. Whenever you can check on that, and you can give her my number, or if y'all want to call me whenever or whatever, just let me know. Just keep me updated.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
I'm pretty
Will
definitely.
do.
sure he's gonna deny this to the fullest, and we're gonna have to pull the extras.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right.
All right,
We
mommy. See you
appreciate
later.
All
Love you
right, y'all.
guys. Have
Love
fun
you.
on your live.
I will.
All right, mommy.
Mm.
Bye.
wow. Mm-mm-mm.
Well, Diva got some tea over here for you guys.
Man, I hey hey, I'm gonna have to check around the city a little bit. I
Right.
I
Remember
know
what?
you
Remember
the
the area she was telling you, bro.
Mm, mm.
Remember the areas. She had named 2 different areas.
You say Kwame lawyer want to talk to me? Hell, tell him to come holler at me. Cause I got a hell of a goddamn countersuit. I would rather him pay the money and then me just react. But
Right.
salute
He's
though,
coming in
y'all.
the chat. He's always coming in the chat. Why don't you hit the panel and explain yourself, sir?
He can explain this stuff himself. If he don't know the woman, cool. We'll just have to talk to the woman. Just
Right.
like he denied holding that woman over the balcony. And what we found out, y'all, he held that woman over the balcony, and he came up here and denied it. He called the lady all kind of names and all that, but that woman stuck to her guns. Nigga, you held
Mm,
me over that balcony. So we know what type of nigga this is. We know he do stuff like this.
right.
Now, whether he want to come clean or what he want to do, goddamn, get exposed. We ain't got to lie on this man. Why would this lady have to come and lie and say her family member got
Right.
pregnant by him?
Right. It was her family member.
So she just made up
Who
a fake name. Why would he block her? What's good, Queen?
mm,
Why would he block her when she came in his chat and she asked him about it? Why did he block
mm,
her? Y'all?
exactly. Right. He ran. Yo, you should have seen him. We said that a couple of times, and then your people started saying, like, yo, answer the girls' questions. These ladies are asking you questions, Kwame. What's going on? Yo, he boogied. He boogied. He
He
didn't
booked
even
out
jump back in the chat after that. He was probably just stayed in the bushes.
there.
That's a
The
damn
proof,
shame.
the proof is him
Now we
trying to
understand
get
why
R.
you advocate for R. Kelly, because you could understand being hypersexual with a teenager.
So, so the proof is the proof is the motherfucker sitting here trying to block the lady out the damn chat when she's trying to expose
Mm-hmm.
her. We seen him do that before. Now all we gotta do is wait for him to go ahead and pull up the person, cause y'all know that nigga a hit dog gonna holler.
So be prepared. Be prepared. I might have some trolls coming over here too talking shit. Too sorry.
Man, yeah, that nigga went ghost.
He
Y'all know it's
did.
the reason why that nigga ain't saying nothing in here.
Right.
He in here. He in the bushes. Trust
Right.
me.
What's up, Cheryl? What's up, everybody that's coming into the chat? What's up, everybody? Salute to all of y'all.
Little third eye.
So we kind of threw in a little tea for you guys, okay? Before we get this other tea going with R. Kelly. For
Man,
those who don't
let's
know
get
about the
let's
saga.
get to Kwame best friend, new best friend. Well, let's get to the best of both worlds. We got two alleged. I'm gonna say alleged just because of him.
Right,
We got
right.
two alleged goddamn uh predators. I ain't gonna call him a pedophile. You got to be under 13.
Mm, mm, mm.
So I'm gonna
Damn
tell you,
shame. These people are crazy. That's why I say sometimes I think you know how they always say to me that I need to go get my abuser because R. Kelly ain't the one that did it to me, right? My thing is, why is it that you motherfuckers are sticking up for him? Are you fucking a bunch of fucking predators and pedophiles running around here? Is that what's going on here?
that's
Because
what's
it's
going
looking a
on.
lot like it. It's looking a lot like it. You dudes and bitches are out here advocating for R. Kelly. And it seems to me like you would sell your daughters. Okay? Yeah. And you dudes would definitely corner a little girl in the corner. So that's how I feel about that. All right. Right.
Oh, and the haters over here, mad. Where's your proof? We want to see paperwork. What type of
Oh, don't
paperwork?
worry about the proof and the paperwork, bro. Don't worry. When
Don't
when my
worry.
sister when my sister has the permission with the green light to go, don't worry. You got it.
Coming, y'all. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Be
This is
patient,
the tip of
bitches.
the iceberg.
Be patient.
Be patient. Let's see if he gonna lie first.
Mm,
Let's see
mm,
if he gonna lie first.
mm.
Then we'll have to pull out the big gun.
That's crazy.
He might just want
You
to,
know,
just tell the truth, man.
ears.
You had your
You're
little
going in and out, ears.
huh?
You're going in and out.
Going in and out. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
we gonna find out the truth regardless. I got
Right.
a couple of phone calls. I got to make my damn stuff because I think I was locked up around this.
Okay. Yeah, because she did say what year it was. She did
Right.
tell you. Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember she saying the
I
year.
think it was 2001, something like that. I believe she said.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, yeah. Well, don't worry,
we'll wait
because you
for her
guys,
because we'll wait
right?
for her 'cause if you wrong, he's gonna use that as the that you're lying. You said this or whatever. So we're gonna make sure we're gonna wait till till we
Right.
get.
Wait for it. That's just the tea for now. Okay. It's just a little piping tea. Sip on it. Okay, guys. And then when you get the evidence, then you can drink the full cup. Okay.
All right. Yeah, y'all just take y'all little sip, and trust me, if we coming back.
Right. Yeah. Just you know how guys always say.
Bonnie, what you say? See, you don't even know you're willing to risk your channel for it. What am I? How am I risking my channel? So he's not risking his channel when he's calling me a pedophile and molester and all
How
that.
what?
So
Right. He
all
can.
that shit is funny to y'all. All y'all have fun. It's fun. All lies. Look at this person. All lies. You already windmilling. You don't even know yet.
Mm-mm-mm.
Just like you said, I was a liar when I say he held a woman over the balcony. You hear the man try to skate around the shit. And even when the woman come up and say it out her own mouth, "Oh, you
Mm,
lying, you lying." I know it's a shocker. I know y'all shocked. Y'all can't
mm,
believe your favorite celebrity is out here on some Hollywood shit. We get it. We get it.
mm, mm, mm. You know, these people out here are crazy. Thank you, Kato.
So we can get on to our next subject. We'll get on to his bestie, R. Kelly.
Yeah, we're going to get into, like I said, the Eastern District of New York's trial, which happened in Brooklyn. And it was his RICO case. Okay. And we're going to go through the testimony of the girl named Anna. Okay. That was her pseudonym name at the trial. But we know who she is. She is the young lady from Wild and Out, the Nick Cannon show. She's one of the Wild Out girls. Okay. So for those who don't know, that's who she is. All right. And I'm going to pull up my document. And once again, hello to everyone who's jumping into the building. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Please make sure you hit that like button on your way in, okay? Thank you. All right. Let me get to my window. Okay, what happened here? See, my window is being funny again. Why is it doing this stupid shit? It's like blanking in and out. It's the strangest thing. I've never seen this happen before.
Goddamn, Rodney, you want to come up here and windmill for your boyfriend?
Oh my God.
You
What
you
happened?
know,
What are
Rodney,
the trolls doing?
I'ma do a live after we done with this, and I'll let y'all hit the link so y'all can windmill for y'all.
Yeah, so you could
But
beat them up over there. Beat them up
right
over
now,
there.
we moving on to R. Kelly, y'all. So if you only came over here to hear Kwame little secret,
We
we
just
done.
right. We just gave you a little sip of tea, y'all. That's it. Y'all don't have to get crazy, okay? All right.
Trust me, it's coming back to full swing. We got more to talk about it, but for right now, back to the subject. Salute to you, Steve. I'll let you get on.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Ears, can you go on mute? Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let me hide this comment. I'm gonna put the screen on full. Oh wait, sorry. Okay. Making sure I'm still good, right, guys? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear, and I'm not choppy. Just give me a thumbs up, guys. Somebody give me a thumbs up, and just let me know I'm not choppy, okay?
Now you sound good. You good.
I do, baby? Okay, thank you. All right. So now here we have the young lady, Anna, and this is the direct examination. So this is coming from the government because witnesses usually testify and the prosecution goes first. So now they swore her in. The judge gives her, little instructions like if you don't hear me, say you can't hear, da 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 da. All right, now, okay, then they also show her, the government shows an exhibit, number 76, which would be her ID picture, a picture of her, and her true name. All right, they mark it in there. All right, no objection. Okay. Okay, so now Anna is from Greenville, South Carolina. Okay. She went halfway into college. And then she asks her, "Are you familiar with an individual named Robert Kelly, also known as R. Kelly?" She said, "Yes, I am." Then she says, "Have you ever met Robert Kelly in person?" She said, "Yes, I have." Then she's showing her a picture of Robert Kelly. Then she pointed him out. She said, "Can you point them out and describe an article of clothing he's wearing?" She said, "A light blue shirt." Um, okay. Now the judge, then the prosecutor says, you previously testified that you've met the defendant personally. Approximately when did you first meet the defendant? She said, "I believe it was 2016 at a show in Columbia, South Carolina." Then she says, "And approximately how old were you when you first met the defendant?" She said, "I believe I was 19 going on 20. Now, yes, this young lady was of age when she met R. Kelly. Now, his racketeering charges not only deal with minors, it also deals with adult women. Okay? Just to let you guys know, you know, the supporters are always out here screaming that there were no minors, there were no minors. Urgh. If the girl was 17 and she was 16, she was a minor. Okay? Anybody above 18 wasn't. And there was two minors in this case. Okay? Or three, actually. No, wait. I think it was three. And then two adults. Or three adults. It was 3 and 3, I believe. Um, okay. And how did you
I
come
think
to
I
meet
read one
him?
of the 3 and 3 also.
Yeah, I think it was 3 and 3. 3 minors and 3 adults. I gotta go back and figure out who the girls are again. Then she says that they met backstage. And she said, "Can you explain how that happened?" She said, "I was told he saw me walking in and wanted to meet me. Then his lawyer said, 'Objection.'" And the judge was like, "Overruled. Like, why the fuck are you objecting? What?" So then the prosecutor says, "Who told you?" She says, "Whoever worked for him at the time." The prosecutor says, "Did you later learn that individual's name?" She said, "I believe it was Bubba, his name." Now, Bubba, guys, is supposed to be R. Kelly's lover, who is a tattoo artist. Okay? All right. Now, she says, "And what, if anything, did Bubba say to you?" She said, "That Mr. Kelly wanted to meet me." "What happened after Bubba told you the defendant wanted to meet you?" "I went back to the dressing room where he gets ready for his shows. We talked, and then he went and performed. And then after that, we went to the meet and greet." She said, "When you say we, who went to the meet and greet?" She said, "My mom and I." Now, This mother was involved in this relationship, guys. Okay? So then the prosecutor says, and did you see the defendant at the meet and greet? She said, yes. And what happened when you saw the defendant there? We were all just talking. You know, he was talking to his fans. That was pretty much it. And at any point, did you discuss getting in contact with each other at a later time? She said, we exchanged numbers in the dressing room. And after meeting the defendant at the concert and exchanging numbers, did you speak with the defendant again? She said, not for several months after. After the concert, we both went our separate ways. She said, did you communicate during that time period? She said, a little bit right after, but then it was like I said, several months that we didn't go without speaking. She said, and at some point, did you see the defendant again? She said, yes. And where did you see the defendant? She said, in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe. I was there visiting a friend. Where did you see the defendant? At his house. Do you recall where the defendant lived at the time? I believe it was Johns Creek in Atlanta, Georgia. After seeing the defendant in Atlanta, did you begin to see him regularly? She said yes. And at some point, did you enter into a relationship with the defendant? Correct. Okay. What was the nature of your relationship? It was like a relationship. Okay. And was it sexual in nature? She said, eventually, yes. And approximately at some point, did your relationship with the defendant come to an end? She said, down the line, yes. Approximately when did that happen? I believe it was December of 2019, I believe. I don't, I know it was December going on New Year's. And approximately how long were you with the defendant? She said, sorry, 2018, I believe. She said, so December of 2018. She said, yeah, I would say. Okay. So generally speaking, how would you describe the nature of your relationship when you first started seeing the defendant? It was cool. You know, we would always go out and have a good time. It was always fun, you know, in the beginning. At some point, did things change with the defendant? Yes. In what ways? In more controlling ways, I would say. Oh, so when you say controlling, who is controlling? Robert. While you were seeing the defendant, did you ever travel to attend any of his concerts? Yes. And when you traveled to see his concerts in the beginning, how would you travel? By plane. And when you traveled by plane, who made your travel arrangements? I believe Suzette Twin. And who was Suzette? One of the assistants. One of the defendant's assistants? Correct. Who paid for your airfare when you traveled by air? I believe Robert did. And when you traveled to see the defendant, where would you stay? In a hotel. And who paid for the hotels? I believe Robert did as well. Did you ever pay for a hotel out of pocket? Uh, no, never. Ah, at some point, did you begin traveling with the defendant at shows where he was performing? Correct. When you traveled with the defendant to performances, how would you travel? She said, on the Sprinter. Where do you recall traveling with the defendant for his performances? We went several different places, really all over the US. Did you travel to any places in the East Coast? She said, yes. Where did you travel? She said, Charlotte, North Carolina, New York, Alabama. And did you travel to the West Coast as well? She said, correct. She said, where in the West Coast that you recall? She said Arizona, California. Is it fair to say that there are other places that you traveled to with the defendant that you don't recall necessarily here today? She said, correct. Now pause for a second. I want to just let you guys know, okay, that the reason for these charges is racketeering, right? And underneath that racketeering, like I explained, there's predicate acts. And one of these acts is the Mann Act, which is something that Jack Johnson a long time ago was charged back in the 1910s. This was a law that came about. Okay. The purpose of her testimony is to prove, because she's not charged, she is what we call a bad act, also known as a victim slash witness. So this young lady we're talking about is an uncharged act. R. Kelly was never charged with her. Not here, not anywhere, not ever. But she's a corroborating evidence to the other girls whose charges R. Kelly was facing to prove what they were saying. So that's corroborating evidence. All right. Just wanted to break that down so everybody could understand. Yes, she was 19. Yes, she was of age. She was an adult. Her mom knew about the relationship. It was consented by her because she was an adult. But the mom knew about it. Okay. So I just wanted to give y'all that summons. Okay. So you can know. Now she says, at any point during the course of the time you were seeing the defendant, did you come to live with him? She said, yes. How soon into seeing the defendant did you begin to live with him? She said, I would say a couple of weeks later. When you were living with the defendant and you weren't traveling on the road, where did you stay? She said, mostly in hotels, but back and forth from the houses or studio or the Trump Towers. That's in Chicago. So he would have these girls staying in hotels, going back and forth from house to house, the studio, and the penthouse in Trump Towers. So this is all proof of travel. Okay? Because a lot of these supporters out there are like, I don't know what he was charged with. What do you mean? What do you mean? There was no evidence. What evidence they had? Everybody was lying. The fuck? Anyway. Sorry, I just had to throw that shit in there because they began me frustrated. Pardon me, guys. So then she says, so you mentioned houses and you previously testified about a house in Atlanta, correct? She said, correct. She said, did you stay there? She said, sometimes. Okay, you also mentioned the Trump. She said, correct. What was the Trump? She said, in Chicago. Who lived it? Is it fair to say Trump is a building, a residence? She said, right, a high rise. She said, who lived there? She said, Robert did. So, defendant's home? She said, correct. Would you spend time at the Trump? She said, sometimes, not all the time. You also mentioned the defendant's studio. She said, correct. She said, where was that studio located? That was also in Chicago. I'm not exactly sure where. She said, do you recall the address? I don't recall the address. She said, while you were with the defendant, did you ever have occasion to visit the doctor? She said, the doctor? I went to the hospital one time. And during your trip to the hospital, were you ever tested for a sexually transmitted disease? She said, yes. And when you went to the doctor, did you go alone? She said, no. Who you went with? She said, Diana, the assistant at the time. When you say the assistant, whose assistant was she? Roberts. And you testified that you had tests regarding related to sexually transmitted disease done. Did you get results? Did you get results back? She said, yes. And who received those results? She said, the assistant. She said, Diana? She said, correct. Did you ever speak to the doctor yourself with respect to your results? She said, no. At any point did the defendant learn about your results? She said, I'm not sure. While you were seeing the defendant, did you come to meet any female individuals who were regularly with the defendant? She said, yes. Now she's going to show in evidence an Exhibit 75 where we are offering to this individual as Jane. Do you recall seeing Jane when you were with the defendant, also with the defendant? She said, yes. Now, of course, we all know Jane is Azriel, right? Azriel Clary. So now she says, yes. The prosecutor says, using first names only and nicknames to the content, to the extent you know them, who, if anyone else, do you recall seeing the defendant regularly with who were female? She said, Joycelyn, Dominique, V. When I first came around, that was pretty much it. Oh, are you familiar with an individual named, nicknamed Juice? She said, oh, Juice, yes. Ah, did you ever see Juice with the defendant? She said, here and there, but not really. Now, guys, the lady Juice, who was also a teenager who dealt with Robert Kelly, she was allegedly, supposedly, the trainer. She was the one who trained the girls on how to please Robert Kelly in bed sexually. Okay. She said, did you ever see the defendant with Juice? She said, here and there, but not really. She would come to parties or something like that, but that was pretty much it. Now, I know she's lying. I know she's lying, guys. I know she's lying. I know. I have a feeling she was not speaking her whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help her God. Not saying that she lied, but she held back some of the truth. Let me not say that she lied, because she didn't lie. Her testimony is not a lie. She didn't say that. That's wrong of me to say. She held back some truth. That's what I'm going to say. She didn't tell all of it. All right. Some of these girls didn't tell their whole truth. They held back. I know they did. All right. Then the prosecutor says, when you first began seeing the defendant, what, if anything, did the defendant tell you about who these women that we've just been talking about were to him? She said, in the beginning, it was friends, women he's cared about, he cares about. The defendant told you that? She said, correct. At some point, did you have additional discussions with the defendant about the actual nature of his relationship with these individuals? She said, yes, down the line. So what, if anything, did he say? Um, they're women he cares about, and basically, yeah. Oh, what, if anything, did the defendant say about why these women were with him? Because maybe their families, they didn't want to be at home with their families and enjoyed more time being with him than being at home. So now, based on your own observations, at some point, Did you learn that Jane, Dominique, Juice, V, and Joycelyn were more than just friends of the defendant? Yes. And how did you learn that? Down the line with, interactions and things like that? At any point, did you observe any of these individuals engage in sex with the defendant? Yes. And during that time that you were with the defendant, did you also see the defendant with other women who we've not specifically discussed here today? I don't recall. Now, during the course of your relationship with the defendant, what, if any, rules did the defendant have that he expected you to follow? Uh, no makeup going outside, baggy clothes, baseball cap, getting permission to go to certain places. Okay, do you recall any other rules with respect to your communications with other people? Yes, communications are kind of monitored. And what do you mean by that? He would mostly be, around um, if I spoke to someone or was on the phone. When you say he, are you referring to the defendant? Robert? Yes. You testified that one of the rules that the defendant expected you to follow was that you had to ask permission to go anywhere. She said, correct. What kinds of things did you need to request permission from the defendant in order to do? She said, to leave the house, to go to another room. Yeah. She said, what, if anything, were you expected to do if you needed to go to the bathroom, for example? That was mostly during travel, like on the Sprinter. If he wasn't on the Sprinter, I would have to contact him before getting off to make sure it was okay to use the restroom. And what, if anything, were you expected to do by the defendant if, say, for example, you wanted food? She said, reach an assistant to see if they could get it or get a hold of him. When you say him, do you mean the defendant? She said, Robert, yes. Now, based on your own observations, were the other women you've discussed, like Jane, Joycelyn, V, Juice, and Dominique, subject to similar rules as you? She said, I believe so, yes. And how do you know that? She said, just from being around them and, studying what's going on. Okay, so you testified that while you were on the Sprinter, you would need to contact the defendant in order to leave the Sprinter. Were there periods of time when you were on the Sprinter for extended periods? A few times traveling. Okay, other than traveling. So if you're not on the road, but if the Sprinter is parked somewhere, were there times where you spent extended periods of time on the Sprinter? She said, I recall maybe one or two nights parked at a studio. She said, where you spent time in the Sprinter? She said, correct. Approximately how long did you spend in the Sprinter? She said, overnight. She said, was the defendant with you? She said, yes. He would come. Was he with you for the entire time? She said, the entire time? No. But eventually he came and slept in the Sprinter as well. Other than the defendant, while you were on the Sprinter, Who, if anyone else, would you be with? She said, sometimes the assistants. Mostly that would be pretty much it. So you mentioned previously two assistants. I believe you mentioned Diana and Suzette. She said, correct. Or Lily sometimes. Who is Lily? She was like a helper assistant. She said to the defendant, she said, correct. And there were times where they were on the sprinter with you. Correct. What, if anything, would you need to do if you were on the sprinter and needed to use the restroom? She said, I would use a cup. And why would you use a cup? If there wasn't access to a restroom or we couldn't stop or anything like that? She said, let's say that you are stopped. So you're not on the road. What, if anything, you had testified that there were times where you needed to reach out to the defendant if you needed to leave the sprinter? She said, correct. She said, were there times where you needed to reach out to the defendant before you could leave to go to the restroom? She said, correct. What, if anything, would you do if you couldn't reach the defendant? She said, use the cup. And when you say use the cup, do you mean urinate in the cup? She said, urinate only. That was it. Okay. Did there ever come an occasion where you left the sprinter to use the restroom without seeking the defendant's permission? She said, yes, I believe that happened one time. And this girl was with R. Kelly for 3 years. And it only happened one time. The prosecutor says, and what happened? I just remember him being very upset. That was kind of before I really knew the full rules. So when you say the defendant was upset, how do you mean? She said, just angry. It wasn't anything physical, just letting me know not to do that again. Now, when you were spending time in the sprinter, were there other rules in terms of things you could or could not do in the sprinter? She said, the blinds. What do you mean when you say the blinds? She said, just pulling them down if he wasn't on the sprinter. If the defendant wasn't in the sprinter, how, if at all, would he know you were breaking one of the rules? She said, I believe I saw me being recorded at one point. What do you mean by being recorded? When he would step off, I noticed there was an iPad recording. Was it the defendant's iPad? Correct. And you say you saw it recording. She said, correct. You also testified that on some occasions you would spend time at the defendant's studio in Chicago. Is that correct? She said, correct. Now, this guy, R. Kelly, would have his iPad watching her, recording her while she's on the sprinter, in the sprinter, waiting for him. Are you kidding me? What kind of a relationship is this? This sounds like a slave to me. Was it the defendant's iPad? She said, correct. And you say you saw it recording? She said, correct. You also testified that on some occasions you would spend time at the defendant's studio in Chicago. Is that correct? She said, correct. Okay. Were the locations in the studio where you or the defendant's other girlfriends stayed in the studio? She said, correct. Where in the studio would the defendant's other girlfriends stay? She said, upstairs. When you say upstairs, what do you mean? She said, there was a renovated part upstairs on the far left that had three rooms and a main living room, and that's where they would stay. And were there specific rooms where the defendant's girlfriends would stay? She said, correct. And what, if anything, would the defendant say when he wanted them to go to these designated locations? She said, take place. And what did you understand that to mean? Like, go wherever you're supposed to go. So R. Kelly would be like, he would come out and be like, yo, take place. And these girls would go into their rooms. Snap, snap. Remember, R. Kelly snaps his fingers, guys, and what happens? Girls are popping out of fucking boxing rings, right? They're popping out from under boxing rings. He says, take place. And what happens? They go running into their rooms. And what did you understand that to mean? She said, like, go wherever you're supposed to be. She said, in a particular room in the studio? She said, correct. Now, when in these particular rooms in the studio, you had testified that you would need to get the defendant's permission in order to move around. Was this true in the studio as well? She said, correct. Okay. You testified that one of the defendant's rules was also that he monitored your personal conversations with others. What do you mean by that? Just like I said, was around when I would be make a phone call or send a certain text. So, were there any rules with respect to personal conversations involving other girlfriends? She said, can you ask me that one more time? She said, sure. With respect to communications or conversations that you had with the defendant's other girlfriends, did the defendant have any rules about the type of conversations you could have? She said, yes. Just wanted it no talk about, you know, anything. How can I say this? No compliments to each other. Uh, no talking about social media or anything like that. Uh, no, nothing about him, obviously. Did you ever get in trouble with the defendant for breaking this particular rule? She said, yes, I believe one time. And what happened then? I believe it was with Jane. I gave her a compliment and she told him, and he didn't like that. And did he express to you that he didn't like that? She said, yes. Now, you testified that one of the defendant's rules was that you had to wear baggy clothes. She said, correct. And you said no makeup and a hat. She said, correct. You previously testified that there were times where you were out in public with the defendant. She said, correct. How did you dress for those appearances with the defendant? She said, sometimes would be chilled, but most of the time it would be get cute, you know? Uh, who determined when you were able to dress up in, as you say, get cute? She said, Robert, apart from the instances when you were with the defendant and he specifically told you that you could dress up, how would you dress? Can you ask me that one more time? Sure. So, you testified that there were times where the defendant did, in fact, say, get cute or dressed up. Apart from those instances, would you follow the rule for baggy clothes, no makeup and hats? She said, correct. So, we have been talking about various rules that you said the defendant had and experienced you to follow. Were there any consequences if you did not follow these rules? She said, yes. Okay. Did you personally experience any of these consequences for breaking the rules? She said, yes. What, if anything, did the defendant do to you for breaking his rules? She said, spankings or, no going out and about in the day. There was really an option between the two. Now the judge says, I'm going to just ask you to keep your voice up. All right. So then the prosecutor says, you testified that spanking was one of the consequences, correct? She said, correct. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But while you were with the defendant, did you ever have a cell phone? She said, yes. When you broke the defendant's rules, what, if anything, might happen with respect to your cell phone? She said, it would be taken. Who would take it? She said, Robert. Approximately how many times did the defendant take your cell phone for breaking one of his rules? She said, a few times. And what, if any, instances do you recall when the defendant took your cell phone? Generally speaking, for what reasons? Are you asking what reasons? She said, yes. Maybe being on social media. I remember one time, I think I was texting an ex. Fair to say that there were other reasons that you can't recall. She said, there were other reasons that I can't recall. Yes. When the defendant took your cellular phone from you, how long would he hold on to your cellular phone? She said, sometimes a couple of days and sometimes a few months. When you did have access to a cellular phone, what, if any, restrictions did the defendant place on the type of cellular phone that you could have? She said, no social media, no internet, only could talk to certain people. And when you say certain people, who were the certain people? She said, mainly my family, my mom, my dad. And when you did have your cellular telephone, were you able to use it freely whenever you wanted? She said, I wouldn't say freely because, no internet, not just pick up the phone and talk. And you testified earlier that the defendant would often monitor your calls. She said, correct. Now, while you were with the defendant, did you have a job? She said, no. Did you have your own bank account or credit cards? She said, I believe I did. I don't think I had much in it, but yeah. Did you have regular access to your own source of money? She said, I didn't have any income, so no. So if the defendant took your phone and you wanted to buy a phone, would you have been able to do that without his knowledge? She said, no. In addition to holding on to your phone for certain periods of time, did the defendant ever hold on to any other important personal items or documents belonging to you? She said, I believe my passport. Now, you referenced that there were times where you had phones and you could not have social media on those phones. Prior to your being with the defendant, did you have any social media accounts? She said, yes. What kinds of social media accounts did you have? She said, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. While with the defendant, what, if anything, happened to your Instagram account? She said, I had to deactivate it. Why did you have to deactivate it? She said, I believe this was around the time a lot of the hype started with all of this and just didn't want me having it. when you say didn't want you having it, do you mean the defendant didn't want you? The defendant didn't want you having it. She said, I'm sorry. Yeah, the defendant, correct. Did you, in fact, delete your Instagram account? She said, correct. What were the circumstances under which you deleted it? I just had someone sitting there to make sure it was completely deleted. And who was sitting there? Lily. You mentioned that Lily was sort of an assistant for the defendant, correct? She said, yes, correct. What was Lily's role in terms of being there while you deleted your Instagram? Just to make sure I deleted it. And did you delete your Instagram account at the defendant's direction? She said, yes. You see how he had so much control of these girls? That's crazy, yo. Like, and these girls were so starstruck. They just was like robots. To me, they were robots. What do you think? Is you still with me, brother?
Yeah, I'm over here in the chat and I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Ask me that. I'm sorry.
All right. No, no, it's okay. I was just checking in on everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
So what is
over here.
everybody saying in the chat?
I'm over here in this damn chat.
Okay. Breaking that glass out of his car in a rage, trying to get to her. What would he have done if other basketball no?
Yeah, this is crazy
Oh,
because see, yeah, this girl wasn't underage, but at the same time, this is mind-boggling. This type of abuse. This is what this man is in prison for, and people are still trying to act like, oh well, this girl lied, this person lied. Why these people gotta lie to tell these folks can't make this shit up?
right, right. And as you can see, this girl was reluctant to tell her whole truth. Can't you tell?
Right, right,
She was reluctant to answer certain questions like, yeah, but okay, but huh? And yeah, well, and no, girl, we want you to. That's why the question, she kept repeating the questions so that she can answer it the right way.
right. Because if you
Well,
don't, they're gonna spin it anyway. They're gonna,
right,
make it like you lying and all that anyway. So,
right. You
everybody ain't polished when it comes to sitting on a stand and just being fluently. So,
right, exactly.
some people they take their time, they have to think about the question, all of that. But
Yeah, so right,
you
she was
gotta
nervous. You could tell she was scared. She was nervous. She wasn't like she didn't want to tell the whole truth.
because
She was kind of dancing around questions.
these women be in fear. I noticed that when my
Mhm.
friend came up here and talked about this balcony shit. Like they be in fear, even when the dude
Right,
ain't there.
right. And then imagine she was sitting in the courtroom. She had to point him out, and now
Right.
she's telling his dirt.
Right. And then she don't know if he gonna beat this. So if he beat it, she might feel like she in trouble.
Right, or might want to go after her. That's crazy.
Right. That's why a lot of people
Poor
was
girls.
skeptical about testifying against him because they're like, man, if this nigga get off again, I got a whole nother problem.
Right, right. All right, so I'm gonna continue. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna try to go down a little bit. Let's see. All right, so she says, what if any rules did the defendant have about your interactions with other men? She said that there would be no interactions. What if anything were you supposed to do if you were in the presence of another man? She said, turn away. You previously mentioned that the defendant would spank you as a form of punishment for breaking one of his rules. She said, correct. When was the first time that you learned that the defendant used spankings as a form of punishment? She said, I believe in the sprinter, and I feel it came across kind of like a joke, you know, telling me, but it really wasn't a joke. She said, "Who was telling you this joke?" She said, "The defendant." "And at the time, you believed it was a joke?" She said, "Kind of, yeah, because did he refer to these spankings to you in any particular way?" She said, "What do you mean, refer? Did he call the spankings anything?" She said, "Oh, no, just spankings." "Oh, okay. And when he, at some point, did you learn that when he referred to spankings as a punishment, that is, was not in fact a joke?" She said, "Correct." "So, how did you learn that?" She said, "When it came down to it happening." "So, when you say it happened, what do you mean?" She said, "Like the actual spankings?" "Who spanked you?" "Rob." "When the defendant spanked you, was this as punishment, as you testified?" She said, "Correct." "Can you explain to the jurors, generally speaking, what would happen during these spankings?" She said, "It would be just like spankings." "What were you wearing during the spanking?" She said, "Nothing. Like, and you said spankings. Would the defendant strike you?" She said, "Correct." "Where would he strike you?" She said, "The behind, backside." "What would he use to strike you?" She said, "His hand." "At any point, were the spankings painful?" She said, "Yes." "Did the spankings ever leave marks or bruises on your body?" She said, "Correct." "How, if at all, did you react when the defendant spanked you in this manner?" She said, "I would cry." "Were you visibly upset?" She said, "Yes." "Did you want to be hit in this way?" "No." "And at any point, did you ever say to the defendant that you enjoyed the spanking?" She said, "I believe yes, through text." "Why did you say this?" "Because I was told to." "Who told you?" She said, "Robert." "So when you text saying that you like the spankings, what would he have you say? What would he have you say?" "Basically, I want you to come, you know, turns me on." "So that's what you would be writing?" She said, "Yeah." "And did it, uh, is that something that you wanted to be happening?" She said, "No." "How often would these spankings occur?" She said, "Every now and then." Now the judge says, "I'm sorry, you said every now and then." Witness says, "Every now and then." The judge says, "What would cause it to happen again? Why did he spank you?" The witness says, "If it was something, some rule that you didn't abide by or something like that." The judge said, "I see. I'm sorry. Go ahead." The judge was so fucking disturbed that she had to interject and say, "I'm sorry. You said every now and then. Like, what the fuck? What would cause this to happen again? Why did he spank you?" And she's like, I broke a rule and shit, That's why, because I was a bad girl, so I got spanked. And the judge, like, "I see. Okay, girl, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, honey. You know, you The sentencing hearing, the judge went off on R. Kelly. Woo! Listen, I cried the day of the sentencing. Okay.
Wow. We got a transcript of the sentences.
Oh,
I
I
guess.
sure do.
Yeah, we're gonna listen to that on next time.
I sure do. I sure do. Wow, that shit was deep. So now, um, she asks her. Now the prosecutor continues and says, "Did the defendant ever spank you in front of anyone else?" She says, "Dominique, I believe." "And where was this?" She said, "On the Sprinter." She had her back turned. "But Dominique was present when the defendant spanked you?" She said she was present, correct. "Was that spanking part of punishment?" She said, correct. "Did the defendant ever record these spankings?" She said, yes. "And how did he record the spankings?" She said, on the iPad. At any point, did you ever tell any of the defendant's employees about having been spanked by the defendant? She said, yes. "Who did you tell?" She said, Twin. "And Twin, I believe you testified that's Suzette." She said, Suzette, correct. What did you tell her?" She said, "I believe I showed her like the red mark." "Where was the mark that you showed her?" She said, "On my backside." "Did you ever speak to anyone else who was employed or who worked with the defendant about the defendant having hit you?" She said, correct. "Who did you speak to?" She said, Cash. "And who is Cash?" "She was a stylist." "The defendant's stylist?" She said, correct. "In addition to the spankings, were there ever any other types of punishments that the defendant handed out to you?" She says, "Besides the phone, no, not that I can recall." "Were there ever instances in which the defendant recorded you walking back and forth?" She said, yes. "Can you explain what happened when the defendant had you walking back and forth? What did that mean?" She said, "That would be a punishment as well. So, can you explain to the jurors what you would do as part of that punishment?" She said, "Walk back and forth." "Was the defendant present when you were walking back and forth?" She said, correct. "And what, if anything, were you wearing?" She said, nothing. "And when you were walking back and forth, what, if anything, did you say or do?" "Call myself names." "What kind of names?" "Stupid, slut." "Who, if anyone, told you to call yourself those names?" The defendant. "Did you want to be calling yourself stupid or slut while you were walking back and forth?" No. "And generally speaking, how long might this session, for lack of better words, of you walking back and forth last?" Approximately like 30 minutes, probably." What the fuck? Mm-mm-mm. And the court presented the video of her from the iPad of her walking back and forth calling herself a stupid slut. While I believe they were making fun of her in the background or some shit like that. I wasn't there at the trial, but I did go to the sentencing. But some of my peoples was there. It was just humiliating. This was humiliating for all these girls. This is not something that you want to go around telling people. So when these supporters say these bitches are all lying, no. Why would they want to embarrass themselves to say this if it's not true? Who does shit like that? And then all their stories were basically the same. And a lot of these girls were from different times. That's crazy, R. Kelly. Sit your ass down. I'm glad you're not allowed to talk on YouTube no more. Shut the fuck up.
Do that goddamn time. All that
Do the
bullshit.
what?
Yeah. I said that nigga need to sit down and do his time, man. I want to hear this shit.
He needs.
That nigga up.
Right, nobody's willing to admit these things. You can see how this girl was mad hesitant, yo. You see that the prosecutor had to pull her fucking teeth to get shit out of her.
Right. Puzzle pieces. Yeah, I'm a little shocked by the details of this information. I
Yeah.
always thought it was just, maybe a couple of girls and, I didn't know it was this much.
Right, it was this deep. We didn't know it either. We saw what we saw on the documentary, but when the girls came out at trial to speak about it, it was in well detail of what was going on behind the scenes, behind closed doors in R. Kelly's houses, as well as him having these girls wait for him in hotel rooms in other parts of the state. So the girl's in California and he's in Chicago. And he's in the studio with the other girls. And he's got the other girls in Chicago. And then he's got the other girls in Georgia. So he made sure he always had pussy wherever he would go. Like I said, he had these girls like slaves. And if this shit right here don't see, if you can't see that this girl was a slave, you're a fucking flying monkey.
Right. Right.
You're a flying fucking monkey, yo. And he was convicted on all 9 counts in the racketeering. So the jury believed them too, with all the corroborating evidence and everything. And like I said, this girl was not charged with R. Kelly. She's an uncharged act. Let me
So
get some.
she didn't get no immunity and all this shit that they talking about. Did
No,
she
none of these girls got immunity. None of these people got immunity here. The only person that got immunity was Diana Copeland and Demetrius Smith. That was it. And that was because they could have incriminated themselves, because they did do criminal activities. They could have been charged. If they really wanted, the government could have charged them, but they chose to use those people against R. Kelly instead. And they had every right to do so with their discretion. Let me go on mute for a second, guys. I gotta step off for a minute. So if you want, you could talk to the people for a second. I gotta use the ladies' room, bro.
Okay, handle your business. Say Kwame does not have an own unknown baby. Don't y'all trust this lie? Well, Kev Low, you is the biggest lie on YouTube, sir. You came over here and tried to say I was with a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old. Then you changed it to 17. You came over here, you called Trish prostitutes, all kind of shit. You done brought a crackhead up here trying to lie on my name. Kev Low, why do you feel like anybody would believe you? I would have to provide truth and evidence. Just know you dropped the ball this time. I don't have to provide shit. He got to provide the truth and evidence. Can he provide that he did not have a baby? Can he provide that? Because the woman said, I'm not saying it. The woman said this. This her family saying that, sir. Just because you don't know Kev Low, that don't mean it didn't happen. If the girl family said, if the girl family said it, sir. You mad at me because the girl family came up here and said that? I just listened to her. So you mad at me because the girl family came up there and said that this nigga left this woman goddamn abandoned. 15 years old with a child. You think she don't know that she was fucking Kwame Brown, allegedly? I mean, cause this woman here that came up, she not even from Brunswick, but she knew where her cousin stayed at in Brunswick. She named where the girl stay at and all that. She even asked KB. But see, when she asked KB in his chat, he blocked her. When they asked him in this chat, send a picture why so y'all can attack the woman. We know how y'all niggas like to attack women. I ain't gotta send the picture. He know who the woman is. Yeah, he know who the woman is. Well, I gotta show the picture. Let him show the picture. But we'll see. We'll see. We might show the picture. We might show his alleged daughter. So if we bring a picture, yeah, that's all they want to do is they want to attack the woman. Just like they did with goddamn E.D.N.Y. E.D.N.Y. came up here and told that nigga was goddamn held her over the balcony. She never took it back. I don't care what y'all want to say, but what did they do to E.D.N.Y.? They went and goddamn now they want to pull up pornos. They went and shamed the woman body. They went and did all that. They went and did all that. That don't bring the pictures because it's all cap. Well, why would this the woman that came up here said that she don't even know Kwame like that. She just know her cousin. She just know her cousin was pregnant by him. Allegedly. This woman never got them. She didn't even watch Kwame. She heard him talking about a teenage lover on somebody else's channel, and she was like, "Hold up, how this nigga talking about a teenage lover and he had my cousin pregnant when he was 15?" That's what she said. That's why she came up. Her cousin could have lied. Well, why Kwame couldn't have lied? Why her cousin lied? Why that mean she might have lied about her being pregnant, but she ain't lying about the nigga was fucking her. Why would she lie? Let's say the baby ain't his. He was still fucking her, right? Right? That woman know who she was having sex with. So she lying about she was having sex with Kwame? No proof? So a witness is not a proof? That's all you can say. A witness is no proof. No proof. The woman just come up here the woman come up here and tell vivid details and there's no proof. The woman come up and just bring up a woman name. She asked the man, she asked him personally why he blocked her. So we know Kwame a liar. We know Kwame a liar. That woman came up in his face, said, "You held me over a balcony, nigga." And what that nigga did? Lied his ass off. An NBA player came up and said, "I watched Kwame Brown chase a woman in the yard and punch through the window trying to get to the woman." We heard an NBA player that ain't had no dog in the fight come up here and tell about this nigga punching through a window trying to get to a woman. Everybody lying except for this nigga. Everybody lying except for the nigga that got all these witnesses. Why everybody lying except for this nigga? Mm. Gil came up, one of his teammates came up and told the story. Then he brought the witness, came up and told the story. And all that nigga could say was, "Was you there? Was you there? Was you there?" But then when they brought somebody that was there, that nigga dodged that shit like the plague. When I say he held a woman over a balcony, what he did? All he did is shame the woman. All he did is make all those weirdos start looking up the woman, start doxing the woman, all that stuff. That's all he did. So now you want me to yet bring up another woman so he could dox her. He already done abandoned the child, allegedly. He ain't claimed this child, this child that allegedly his. He ain't seen in 15 years. He ain't want nothing to do with. Why? Because it was a young girl and he didn't want to smear his reputation. His NBA career would have been over before it started if people would have found out he had a 15-year-old pregnant, allegedly. So he had plenty of reason to deny the baby. But see, a lot of young ladies, when they get violated like that and they have a baby or whatever, and that they find out that the man don't want to take care of the child, some women just move on. They were like, all right, motherfucker, you think I want your money? You think I want this and that? Fuck you, nigga. I just move on. I raise the child up without you. So everything a lie except for the people that got there what's name. Mm-mm-mm. That's amazing. It was a lie about my cousin, according to you, but you still had a number though. You still had a number. You told on yourself. But I could have beat on the drum about that. That you need proof. Witness testimony can be doubtful. What kind of proof you need? Do you need the baby? What you need? But you need to see him with a picture of the girl.
I'm back.
You need to see him having sex with the girl. That the proof you need?
Lord have mercy.
I held it down for you while you was gone. I was just asking these trolls in the chat. I
People are
got one
crazy.
I got one nigga over here going crazy.
I told you people are gonna go
Going
wild.
crazy.
People are gonna go
Well, y'all
wild.
haters. Why y'all lied on my cousin? Where's the proof? Where's the picture? I'm like, well, goddamn it. So this woman just come out the blue and she got vivid details like this, talking about her family.
Right. Right.
This woman is talking about her family member. She just said her family member had to leave because goddamn all the goddamn pressure y'all was putting on her in Brunswick.
Right. So that's just messed up. That's really messed up. Like I said, that's just the kettle
It's
calling it
messed
black.
up
Like,
because
I don't know.
if you made a mistake, at least be a man about it. But just
Right.
like a bitch ass nigga, but knock a young girl up and leave her out here, goddamn, leave her out here to raise the child by herself because he trying to protect his career. Allegedly.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, Kwame Brown, yeah, you need to explain that.
Oh, he gonna explain
Definitely
tonight.
need to
That nigga,
explain that.
he gonna be crying a river tonight. You said, what am I trying to do? Put charges on KB? I might be. Let me find out. Motherfucker, shit. Let us find out. Kello said he
you
gonna scoop
know.
low after this, so y'all be prepared for Kello to start lying on ears. We pretty much know he gonna go make up a lie. What you gonna say now, Kello? You know, already called me a pedophile. You know, already called me gay. You know, already called me what? You done said I'm a woman beater.
What
You
else
said
is
I was
there? What else is there?
called me a broke dope boy. You said I beat up on kids. I beat you up when you was a kid.
Oh
Goddamn, what else do you
Lord.
have left? You gonna say you done said I'm a gangbanger. What you gonna say now? I killed somebody?
Oh
Goddamn.
man.
I mean, goddamn, you done said I'm gay. Today you said I was gay. I like it. You said what you said? Oh, you posted the shit in the group. Well, a woman said, "Is it gay for a man to get his ass licked?" And I said, "Yeah, by a man, but by a woman, no." That don't
Right.
mean I'm
Amen. Hallelujah. High five, brother.
yeah. I'm just answering the question from the woman. But now
Right.
he want to act like, oh, that mean I get my ass licked. No, sir. I'm just being general.
Oh,
There's
stop
nothing you can
it. That
do.
just
There's
means
nothing
that
you
he's
can
a
do with
freak
a
and
woman.
you're not. Shut up.
Right. It's nothing you can do with a woman besides letting her put a dildo up your ass or something. But there's nothing you can do with a woman that's gonna make you gay. That's the point of being with a woman. You only gay when you're
Right.
with a man. Your brother, yeah. When your brother,
Right. Exactly.
when him and that 17-year-old boy he started messing with when he was 29, when he licking that little boy booty, yeah, that's nasty. That's gay. That's that's
Mm,
that's that's grooming.
mm.
That's what I meant.
So shall we?
If a man doing it, that's gay. But if a woman doing it, yeah, she just got freaky shit. Hey,
Mm.
shit, she just got free. That's they
Listen, I'm a
that's
freak of leak
that's
myself.
old
People
business.
out
Who else?
here in these streets know that I like to eat groceries, okay? And that's what I do. And I
Hey,
am
hey,
bisexual. They
hey,
call
you
me a carpet
standing
muncher,
up on yours,
whatever.
and
I don't give a fuck.
hey, you married and you standing up on yours. It is what it is.
Right,
Lose somebody to
right.
be
I'm a
a
whole married woman for
lot of
17
females
years.
out here
Stop it.
and niggas out here eating groceries, but they don't want to admit it.
Like, it's okay, man. It's 2023, bro. Get with it.
It's 2023.
Get with it, okay?
Hey, it
Yeah,
ain't.
yeah. Some guys actually, will enjoy it. You know what I mean? If the guy tries it and doesn't like it, then the woman knows, okay, I won't go there ever again. It is what it is. That's it. It's
Right.
called experimenting. Okay?
See, this is a woman. So I mean, everybody ain't gotta agree. Yeah, everybody can have their own purpose of
Right.
what they do.
And nobody over here is abusing minors or doing debauchery with them and taking them across state lines. None of that shit. Okay? So let's not compare us to R. Kelly because none of us peoples over here are R. Kelly.
Right. Ain't
So
no
let's
motherfucker.
continue because it's about to get real juicy here.
Oh, okay, shit. I thought we was at the juicy part. Let me put my mic
Yeah,
on
we're
mute.
starting right. No, we're about to really get into some crazy shit right now at this moment because now she's gonna start describing certain things that he made her do.
Hello, is this the doodoo girl?
This is one of the doo-doo girls.
Ooh,
One of
okay.
them.
Yeah, about to hear from one of the
It's
doodoo
more
girls.
than
Yeah,
one.
there's
There's
multiple
three of
doodoo
them.
girls, but here go one of the doodoo girls, y'all.
There's three of them that actually he forced them to do these things.
They say they love your realness and honesty.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, some people say you're freaky, but
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the compliment,
hey,
guys. So, all right. So let's get into this shit. If enough for Kwame Kelly, I like that. A combination of his name and his name. That's funny. All right.
Kwame
Let's get
Malone.
back to it. Kwame Malone. Ese es la otro that I saw in the chat. Somebody
Kwame-
said Kwame Malone. That's crazy with that Malone guy too. Okay, so now she states that he made her walk back and forth for approximately like a half an hour, right? So now the judge is like, "Is this a good time to take a break?" So they're taking a break. Okay. Okay. All right, just read that. Okay. All right. On the two motions eliminated, the defense motion eliminated. Okay, so here the judge comes out and says, all right, on the two motions in lemony, the defense motion in lemony is to preclude the admission of certain videotapes involving witnesses who are going to testify. The videotapes, apparently, the witnesses, I guess, will testify. When is it anticipated the person will testify? Tomorrow. And the prosecutor says, no, I don't think until next week. Then the judge says, in any event, the government represents that in these videos, the witnesses appear, as well as the defendant, and that the evidence is relevant for a number of purposes, including the charged conduct. One of the goals of the enterprise, according to the indictment, is to produce pornography. I find that the evidence is relevant. It's directly relevant to the witness's experience, corroborates the testimony of witnesses who describe the defendant videotaping, not videotaping, recording sexual contact with the witnesses and among other people who were at whichever residence they were at the time. And some of the witnesses have testified that they were directed to do this against their will. I think it's directly relevant to the charges and it's directly relevant to the witnesses' own experience. And so I am permitting that over the defense objection. The second question has to do with Jane Doe number 7. I had ruled prior to the trial that Jane Doe number 7 would be permitted to testify about her. It was proffered that Jane Doe number 7 witnessed the defendant having sexual contact with Jane Doe number 1, which who we all know is Aaliyah. So Jane Doe number 7 witnessed Jane Doe number 1 and R. Kelly having sexual contact. Okay? Jane Doe number 1 is Aaliyah, guys. And Jane Doe number 7 is my girl, my sister girl. I love her to death. She's one of my girls. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. So now, Jane Doe number 1, who was a minor at the time, right? Now, according to testimony by Jane Doe number 7, Aaliyah had just turned 13 years old. That's how she remembered how old Aaliyah was when she saw R. Kelly having oral sex with Aaliyah. That's what happened. She witnessed R. Kelly giving oral sex to Aaliyah. And she wasn't the only one that witnessed that. Some other people that were on the tour bus witnessed that because it happened on the tour bus in his room in the back. The door went cracked open and everybody saw. Aaliyah's legs was in the air and R. Kelly was in between. And she was 13. The government also proffers that Jane Doe, that the defendant, had sexual contact with Jane Doe number 7 when she was a minor in 1991. So Jane Doe number 1 was Aaliyah and Jane Doe number 7 was our girl Joe. And it so happened to be that Joe was also one of R. Kelly's victims. She was one of the girls that was part of, what was the name of the group, guys? Can anybody tell me in the chat? The Second Chapter. R. Kelly named
it the other night. It was called for something. Are you
what?
talking about Aaliyah or the P girl?
Aaliyah.
Okay.
We're talking about Aaliyah. Jane Doe number 1 is Aaliyah.
The
girl from the P tape is not in here. The girl from the P tape is not in here. This is not Chicago. This is New York trial.
I'm trying to think of that group that she was in, though. I can't remember.
That was For the Cause.
For the Cause, yeah.
Yeah, For the Cause. That was the name of the group of the young lady who was in Chicago, who was on the sex tape that was shown to everyone in the world. So now, JoJo was one of the girls that was on the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, Javante Cunningham. Now, she also was part of that crew. It was Aaliyah, Tiffany, JoJo, a couple of other girls that were part of that crew with Aaliyah. Now, the judge continues to say, I had initially ruled that portion of the testimony that I wasn't going to permit it because it occurred, because it was too remote, and the government has asked me to reconsider that. So the defense opposes the evidence of cumulative, unfairly prejudicial, and unreliable. But the government proffers that Jane Doe will testify that she was an aspiring performer and that she was with the defendant in his apartment with a number of other young women, and that his associates, including Demetrius Smith, were all in the apartment, and that the defendant asked each girl to come into the room and had sexual conduct with Jane Doe number 7, as well as some of the other young women. Do I have that about right? The prosecutor, Ms. Melendez, says, yes, Your Honor. And the judge says, the evidence is relevant to the existence of the enterprise, particularly that the defendant's employees were aware of his activities and didn't do anything to stop it, including Mr. Smith. In opening statements, the defense contested both the existence of the enterprise and that any of the evidence was evidence of a criminal enterprise. Now, the evidence that the enterprise was in existence before the charges related to Jane Doe number 1 is relevant to the fact that it was, that the enterprise existed at the time of the allegations regarding Jane Doe number 1. So, in other words, she was letting everybody know that, listen, R. Kelly did have an enterprise back in 1994, and he had it back in 1991. So she's letting them know, listen, I don't care what you're saying that there was no evidence. There is evidence that he was part of a criminal enterprise. He was the enterprise. So then she says, Jane Doe number 1 is relevant to the fact that it was that the enterprise existed at the time of the allegations regarding Jane Doe number 1. That it predates, it doesn't make it inadmissible. In addition, having seen the additional proffer of what the evidence is, it really does give a context to Jane Doe's own relationship and the contact that she had with the defendant. I don't find it to be unfairly prejudicial or cumulative. It's relevant to the charge related to Jane Doe number 1, and it explains why she was in the position she was at the time of what's alleged to be her seeing the defendant having sexual contact with Jane Doe number 1. So the defense objection to that is overruled, and you have an exception to that ruling. Has either side had a chance to weigh in on this question of the medical records and the request by, I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry, but the request to have a freelance journalist look at the medical records? Have you solved that issue? Ms. Getty says, we haven't, Your Honor, but we will do at the break. Now, what she's talking about there has to do with R. Kelly's Hurt B records, that one of the Jane Doe's, Jane Doe number 6, was requesting to be shown. Faith Rogers wanted R. Kelly's medical records to be shown to the public. She wanted a request. She wanted that paperwork. Now, the judge says, anything else that anybody needs to put on the record? Let's get the witness. Let's get the jury. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Now, Miss Melendez is questioning Anna, and she says, Anna, at the time of the break, you were testifying about instances which, as part of punishment for breaking the defendant's rules, he had you walk back and forth for a period of time, saying things such as calling yourself a bitch or a slut. Do you recall testifying about that? She said, correct. Who, if anyone, directed you to say those things during those punishments? She said, Rob. And did you want to be saying those things? She said, no. During those types of punishment, how, if at all, would you react when you were being punished in that way? Can you ask that one more time? Sure. You previously testified about spankings and that there were times during those spankings in which you became visibly upset. Did that ever occur while you were engaging in this type of punishment at the defendant's direction? She said, I would say sometimes. And when you say sometimes, how would you be upset? How would you visibly show that you were upset? She said, maybe crying. Mr. Canick, R. Kelly's lawyer, says, objection to maybe. The judge was like, overruled, shut up. Generally, what? What was your reaction to these kinds of things? Into the microphone. Anna says, I can't fully recall, honestly. I just remember doing it. So, yeah. The judge says, go ahead. Miss Melendez comes back and says, were there times in which you expressed your displeasure to the defendant about having to do the punishment? Yes. And how did you do that? She said, wait, rewind. Can you ask me that one more time? Were there ever instances which during the punishments you would express either vocally or other ways to the defendant that your displeasure with having to do these punishments? She said, I would say no, probably. So I would just get it over with and move on to whatever is next. So I would say no. Were there ever times where you appeared as if you were not enjoying it? She said, yes. And what, if anything, would the defendant say to you if he saw that you were not enjoying it or appearing to enjoy it? She said, get it together. And what did you understand it to mean when he said to you, get it together? To do whatever I was supposed to be doing. Based on what the defendant told you to do, correct? She said, correct. Now, during these punishments, did the defendant ever record them? She said, I believe so, yes. And how would he record them? She said, on the iPads. While you were walking back and forth and making the statements about yourself directed by the defendant, what, if anything, did the defendant do while you were engaging in this conduct? I would say sometimes jack off. So you talked about the spanking punishments and you talked about these types of punishments while you were walking back and forth at the defendant's direction. During any of these punishments, did the defendant ever instruct you to perform sexual acts on him? She said, during the times of these punishments? She said, in conjunction with the punishment. She said, yes. And what kind of sex acts? Maybe oral, or when you say oral, do you mean giving oral sex to the defendant? She said, yes. At those times, did you want to be doing that? She said, not during that time. No. Why not? Probably because of the me being worked up and not happy in that moment. And why were you not happy in that moment? Probably because of the punishment or whatever just happened. So, in addition to the spankings and other punishments that you testified about, did the defendant ever become violent with you in other ways for breaking the rules? Yes. So, for example, you testified that one of the rules that the defendant put in place for you was that you were not to interact with other men. Did the defendant ever become physically violent with you because he believed that you had broken that rule? She said, yes. And I have the picture of her with the bruises on her. Did that happen on more than one occasion? She said, I can't recall. So I want to direct your attention to an occasion when you're at the defendant's studio in Chicago. She said, correct. What did the defendant say, if anything, about you having spoken or interacted with another man? Can you ask me that one more time? Sure. With respect to the rule of the defendant that you not interact with other men, directing your attention to a time when you were in Chicago in the studio, what, if anything, happened with the defendant because he thought that you had broken that rule? She said, I believe that when we were upstairs, he went through my phone and saw that I was communicating with an ex, and he didn't like that. When you say upstairs, upstairs in the studio, in the main room upstairs, and who was going through your phone? She said, Rob. And you testified that the defendant didn't like that, correct? She said, correct. What, if anything, happened is when the defendant found out that you had been communicating with your ex boyfriend. She said, he hit me. How did he hit you? She said, on the side, right here. She indicated what side of her face. Mr. Canick said, I'm sorry, I didn't hear her. Pendejo. She said, on the side. Did he hit you with an open hand or closed hand? She said, maybe open. Okay, and the judge says, next question. And you made a motion toward your face. Did the defendant hit you in the face? She said, correct. Where, if anything, anywhere else, did the defendant hit you? She said, I would say that it area wise. So I want to direct your attention to, at some point, did you travel to see the defendant in concert in Alabama? She said, correct. And why did you travel to Alabama? She said, to see him. To see the defendant? She said, correct. Directing your attention to the trip to Alabama. When you went to see his concert there, what, if anything, happened related to the defendant's rules that you not communicate with another man? Can you ask me that again? Sure. So directing your attention to the time you went to see the defendant in concert in Alabama. She said, correct. Did you have a discussion with the defendant at some point about his belief that you had broken the rule about communicating or interacting with another man? That incident, I don't think was about another man. What happened? I believe he was performing and I was recording him, but I think he thought I was doing something else on my phone. Mr. Canick says, objection to what he thought. She said, what, if anything? And then the judge says, there's an objection. The objection is overruled. Why did, but think that's what he thought? But why did you think that's what he thought? The witness says, because I don't recall the reasoning why he was upset, but it was after I was doing whatever on my phone. And the judge says, okay, next question. Ms. Melendez says, would it be fair to say that it was related to you possibly communicating with another man? Mr. Canick said, objection. The judge said, overruled. Anna says, no, I don't think it was related to another man. I think it was just being on my phone. The judge says, just tell us what happened. The witness says, so when that happened, we were backstage and he was yelling, very upset. And I think I just, in the heat of that moment, I was really, really worked up and kind of over that thing. And I targeted him. And when I did that, he reacted and grabbed me. But when he grabbed me, I had a chain around my neck. So I think the nail on the chain scratched me. scratch my chest, which caused marks. Where did the defendant grab you when he grabbed you? She said, like right here. And she indicated where. Ms. Melendez says, I think the witness is pointing to the chest area. She says, yeah, my necklace broke, which cut me on the chest, and I was trying to leave. There was a lot of people outside of the dressing room, so he didn't want me to leave the dressing room. Then he finally walked out of the dressing room, and I found a way to just leave without him knowing. And I walked to a hotel around the corner. Do you want me to keep going? The judge says, yes. The prosecutor said, what happened next? She says, I walked to a hotel around the corner. I didn't have a phone on me, but I don't remember if I had my phone or not. So I remember going to the airport. I don't remember the exact order, but I do remember going back to the hotel because I didn't have a way to get home. And he told me he would get me a flight home. But I had to write something first in order to get my plane ticket. So he would feel comfortable if I tried to say the scratches, he, whatever. So I wrote whatever I wrote. And, well, let me stop you there. She says, okay. When you, what did the defendant ask you to write? She said, I don't recall exactly what I wrote. I just remember it was something on his defense if I were, say, how that altercation, tried to put more of the blame on him, I guess. The judge says, can I just ask, so you were back at the hotel when he told you to write this? She said, yes. The judge says, did he tell you what he wanted you to say? She said, yes, I just don't remember. The judge says, it had more to do with this incident. She said, more in the defense of him related to the incident. She said, the judge says, to make it seem like it wasn't his fault. She says, yes, or if I wanted to say he beat me or something, and that wasn't the case because my necklace cut me, those marks would be there. The judge says, so was he in the room when you were writing this? She said, yes, I believe I was on the Sprinter or something. The judge says, you wrote whatever the statement was and you gave it to him? She said, I don't remember if it was Dominique who I gave it to and she gave it to him. I don't remember. The judge said, what happened next? She said, I went to the airport and I got my necklace back and went to the airport and that was it. The judge says, okay, go ahead. Miss Melendez goes back to questioning her. Did you also travel to Miami to attend one of the defendant's performances? She said, yes, but I was with him at the time. So the defendant was in Miami with you? She said, yes. So directing your attention to a time where you were in Miami with the defendant, what, if anything, happened with the respect to the defendant's belief that you had broken a rule about looking at other men? She said, I believe we were walking into the hotel and my head was turned looking down the hall, and then he smacked me in the face. I guess thinking I was looking at whatever men were down there, but I didn't even notice that there were men down there. So what, if anything, did the defendant say to you? She said, I don't recall fully. The judge said, what in substance did he say? She said, probably like, you're not supposed to be looking, in the direction of men. Mr. Canick said, objection to probably. The judge says, I know you don't know it word for word. The witness says, okay. The judge said, but give us the substance of what he said. She said, I think it was something like, you're not supposed to be looking in the direction of other men, or there's men down there. Why are you looking down there? I don't fully recall. The judge says, okay, next question. Now, during the time that you were with the defendant, did he ever ask you to sign any documents? She said yes. What, if anything, did he ask you to sign? She said, I want to say an NDA, but I don't fully remember because I didn't read through them, but I just do remember signing documents and then signing over permission for pictures as well. When you say permission for pictures, what kind of pictures? Some of the pictures he has taken of me. And with respect to those pictures weren't of sexual nature. Is that correct? She said, no. And I understand based on your testimony that you weren't exactly clear because you hadn't read the full document of the non-disclosure agreement, but what in substance did you understand that agreement to be? She said, I think it was something, for his protection, but like I said, I don't fully remember. She said, and did you sign it? She said, yes. And who provided you with that agreement? She said, I believe probably one of his assistants. One of the defendant's assistants? She said, yes, correct. Did you ever write anything else at the direction of the defendant? She said, at the direction of the defendant? Is that what you said? Yes. As far as something that he ordered, that he asked you to write? She said, yes. And what did you write? She said, maybe things about saying my dad molested me or my cousin. I messed around with my cousin or something of that sort. Were those things true when you wrote them? No. And approximately how many times did the defendant ask you to write letters of that nature? She says, a few times. And when you were writing these letters, how did you know what to write in the letter? A lot of the time, he would direct me on what to write. So was he there when you were writing these letters? She said, most of the time, not all the time. Did you ever get a copy of any of these letters? She said, no. Did you ever try to get a copy of any of the letters? She said, I remember filming one time when I was writing one. And when you say filming, what did you do? She said, I was filming on my phone because I figured that it would be at a time like this, just thinking like saying basically, I'm not wanting to write this. This is not me. Anything that I'm saying or anything that's truthful. So that's basically what I was recording. The judge says, I just want to make sure I understand. You said you were writing out one of these letters, correct so far? She said, correct. And then you recorded yourself with your phone? She said, correct. Just to have proof down the line when I was writing it. Were you saying things as I was saying, I'm not willing to write this? I believe it was in the Trump. I was in the Trump writing this letter. I don't want to write this. Yada, yada. So the judge says, maybe you said this already, but What was the reason? Was there a reason given to you for why you were to write these things? Like I said, I think it was more on his defense for him to have saying to hold against, to have something to say to hold against or down the line if something were to happen or come about. That's my only, the judge says, he just told you to write these things out. And she says, write things that sound embarrassing or sound a little crazy, I guess. The judge says, go ahead. Miss Melendez says, and I think you testified that the information that you were writing in these letters were untrue, correct? She said, correct. And now that recording that you made on your phone, did you keep that recording? She said, I did. But then he went through my phone and saw that and deleted it. When you say he, do you mean the defendant? Yes. So when you were writing these letters, what, if anything, would you do with the letters once you finished writing them? She said, I would give them to him. Now, Ms. Melendez says, I am showing just the witness for identification purposes, the exhibits 430A, B, C, and D, and government exhibit 439 for identification purposes. The judge says, Mr. Koenig, have you seen these? Mr. Koenig says, I would like to see them. The judge says, I know you have copies of them, but I just want to know if you object to them. Then Ms. Melendez says, while doing that, can I just approach the witness, Your Honor? The judge says, sure. I have no objection to them, Mr. Koenig says. Then the judge says, they are in evidence and you can display. So now she says, what are we looking at in government exhibit 430A? Generally speaking, what is it? She said, a letter that I wrote. And you previously testified that you had written letters at the direction of the defendant. Is this one of these such letters? She said, correct. Now, in government exhibit 430A, I would read the whole thing, but starting at the beginning, it says, I feel a little bit better now that I told you that. I want you to know that my mom wanted me to start going out with you because she thought it would be good for my modeling career. She said that I wouldn't be the only one, that's what all of the pretty girls do. I agreed with her because I knew that if people thought we were dating, it would definitely blow up my career. That's why I sent out the pictures we took, because I knew it would cause controversy. At the time, I didn't care who got hurt from it all because I was just interested in myself and my career. I feel so bad about that. We have also spread lies and rumors about you and other females, which I know has hurt you, and I am sorry about that. Now, guys, remember, this is a letter he made her write. He told her what to write in this letter. These are his words, not hers. We have also spread lies and rumors about you and other females, which I know has hurt you, and I am sorry about that. This is hard for me, but I have to continue to be honest. My mom and I have had a conversation about blackmailing you, but once the relationship didn't work out, the plan was to threaten you, to help me with my career, or pay me, or we're going to tell a bunch of lies on you. Is anything written there true? She said, no. And who directed you to write this information? Rob. So was there ever a plan with your mother to blackmail the defendant? She said, never. Showing you government exhibit 430A, 30B. Just reading. And she reads this. We would also lie and say that we had sex and you gave me some type of disease. But as I started spending time and realizing how nice of a guy you are, I started changing my mind. I actually love you so much, but I don't want to do those things to you anymore. The only problem is that my mom is still nagging me about continuing on with those plans. I keep telling her I don't want to do it anymore. And the letter goes on, but with respect to the information in here, who were you writing that you were telling lies about? Is that a reference to the defendant? She said, yes. When you wrote this letter, did you have a plan with your mother about telling lies or blackmailing the defendant? She said, no. Who instructed you to write the information that was in this letter? Rob. I also admitted to her that we did have sex, and it took a while because at first we didn't want to. And that's when we did finally, is because I kept coming on to you. She got so angry at me, and I find myself trying to convince my mother not to do these things. But she continues to argue and curse me out because I don't want to any longer be a part of that negativity and those lies. I am sorry again for all of this, and I know this has definitely changed your mind about me. And like I said, I don't blame you if it did. I just hope that you can forgive me and my mom. Sorry again, Rob, and please call me once you get yourself to speak to me again.
Man, that shit
Whatever
sounds
you
so
do,
fake. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's obvious that
right? You went out.
no, I said go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry. I was listening. I'm like, God damn, this that shit it sound fake. Like, come on, please, Rob, don't like.
This is a letter that he made her write.
I know, right?
Like, that's crazy. He
It
was
sound
writing
like it.
these, he was making them write these letters as collateral to protect himself. He was writing these letters as collateral to protect himself from these girls if they should ever leave him and come out, which is what's happening right now. Is you're on mute. Did you want to say something or you went back on mute?
No, no, no. I was listening. I agree. I was gonna do the same damn thing.
It's crazy, right? The shit you're hearing, you just can't believe it, but you can't make this shit up.
So what more? What else we got? Where we at now? See, scrolling down. Down Anna boy, she got down dropped all the motherfucking gems. It's definitely describing some some slave type shit. And they said it. They said that after 2008, the only lesson he learned was to start having women sign NDAs. They felt like the man didn't learn his lesson. Well, if it's boring, I mean, shit, you know what I'm saying? We'll see you later. I mean, shit. she's reading the transcripts. I mean, reading transcripts ain't sexy, but hey, it's weird how people come in and talking about where's the paperwork? Where's the paperwork? There's no paperwork. What kind of paperwork are y'all looking for? The man abandoned the damn child, allegedly. So what kind of paperwork? What the fuck going on? Is this
This is the
something
transcripts.
you said the color trash drive? Hey, Sister T, hey, go look at the beginning of the video. We got more coming. We just we're waiting on the lies first. We want him to tell his lie, and then we'll get back to it. Let her finish.
Yeah, if you want to end this live, we can end this live and we can talk about this another day. We can talk about another victim.
Okay, okay. Well, y'all, we
We
definitely
can
have
end this live and we can talk about another victim.
we read a lot of this transcript, and we just want to see y'all, let y'all hear the details,
Yes.
just details. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because everybody's gonna give you all these R. Kelly goddamn victim stories and all that stuff, but we want to hear the real victim and see if they sound like they was lying. So we definitely have more. Definitely gonna read more, but it is getting late, and I guess I got to get up early.
Yeah, we can next time we could get into we could do the other boy.
Okay, bet. Yeah, we definitely got
We
to
could
do the
talk
other.
a little bit about the other boy as well.
Okay, okay. Well, we gonna line that up. We'll go ahead and
Yes,
end
sir.
this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all make
Thank
sure
you very
y'all
much,
make
guys, for stopping by.
if y'all over there in her chat, y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, share the content. Y'all over here hit the like button. We appreciate every last
Yes.
one of y'all riding with us.
You're welcome, guys. You're
We
welcome,
gonna get
guys. And thank you so much for sharing your platform with me and
no problem.
your people with me. And this
You
is a
know we
great collaboration.
yeah, you know we gonna rock out.
Yes, sir. And hopefully you can get more details about that Kwame situation with my girl.
Oh yeah, we're gonna follow up on that. He made a live, but he only stayed live about 4 minutes. You could tell the nigga was just stressed. You know, he was mad. Nah, already. Remember when I told you when you said 2001? I said, hold up, don't say no
Yes.
year until we get that for sure, because he's already using that to pivot. Oh, she said
Look
that
at that.
the numbers don't add up. The numbers don't add up. She said 2001. She said in 2001. Don't get too excited yet, sir. It might before you go
Right,
to
right.
telling your
Well,
lie.
it'll be exactly to the T once my girl speaks to her cousin and gets the straight up, all the facts together.
Right. Because see, the cousin, she was just telling, hey, my little cousin had a baby from him. That's all she was saying. She was saying, my little cousin had a baby, he abandoned her. It was a whole big old deal between my family and his family.
Right,
And she just couldn't understand how it was that that man could be up there talking about uh child groomers and teenage love and all that shit there when
right.
she know damn well this man denied her cousin her baby and her cousin was 15. That's what
Right.
she said. And
Yeah.
she felt the nigga, she like, well, nigga, you can't talk when you know you done did the same thing. So
Right.
that's what she had to say. She's not a Kwame fan. She didn't even know about Kwame. Like, know the nigga had a YouTube channel. She
Right.
heard another YouTuber playing a video and heard him talking about somebody messing with a young girl, and that's what made her come with that information.
Right.
I
She's
didn't have
like, really? She was like, wait a minute. This dude is like, he got my whole cousin pregnant, and she was like 15.
right. She came to me. I didn't know nothing about this. Trust me, I would have
That's
said
right.
something earlier. Y'all know me. I can't hold no fucking water. I would have said something earlier.
No, that's why when I told you, I was like, don't say nothing yet. Let's just keep it on the
Right,
download for the moment. Let's get more information. Let me hook you up with my sister for the moment. You could chop it up with her. And then
right,
later on, you can get more information as long as she gets the permission to speak about it, and gets all her facts and ducks in a row.
Right. So the cousin is just telling from her point of view right now. So if y'all thinking like, oh,
Right.
where's the woman? Why she didn't say that? The cousin is telling her point of view for right now. She's just telling
Right.
about her cousin that she know that I asked her, I said, how sure are you? She said what? She was 100% sure. That's what the woman
Yes,
said.
she did. Hmm.
She said, I'm a hundred
That's her
percent sure.
cousin. That's
That's
her
her cousin.
cousin.
That's her first cousin. She don't even
Right.
live in Brunswick, but her cousin lives in Brunswick. She even named the
Yes.
street that the girl lived on.
Right.
Now he's trying to point out, oh, you said 2001, 2001. That's what Diva said. That she
Right.
wasn't sure.
Right. I
She
wasn't
wasn't.
sure. I said I believe it was 2001 is what she said.
She said she
I don't
believed it
remember
was
exactly if
2001.
that was it, but
Y'all do not
right.
hold her
See?
to that because she's not the cousin. The cousin
Right.
did not a year. That was
Right.
Diva saying, I think it was
Right.
2001.
Right.
So y'all don't sit there and try to, because we already hear Kwame
Yeah,
already.
don't hold me to nothing. Listen, I'm just a messenger, okay?
So that was Diva's estimate of the 2000. He already made a live, and that's what he banking on. The dates don't add
Lord
up.
have
Okay,
mercy.
okay. Go ahead and put out your lives. I'm pretty sure he gonna do it live in the morning, trying to discredit everything I said, and that's cool. Cause we want that nigga to go ahead and tell his lie. Because
Right.
if that woman
Right.
come up and tell, that woman
Right,
come up and
because then when the facts come out, then he gonna look real crazy.
so go ahead and tell him, let him go ahead and tell his lie. We're gonna get him on video. That way we can play it for the woman. And when he go to line, that's when we got down Molly Whop his ass.
Right.
So
Right.
we
Right.
gonna listen to him live. We're gonna listen to Kevlo live. Ears gonna come live. I'm gonna go live in the morning, probably on my way to work or when I get to work. We gonna go over I was gonna do a quick live tonight and let y'all hear what this nigga how this nigga trying to wiggle out of this shit. He going to all one of
Right.
those all white parties. We ought to know when a nigga put on all white and they going to them all white parties. We know what kind of party they going to. So,
Oh snap.
but anyway, man, let's get out of here so we can. I gotta get up
Yes,
at
yes,
five
brother. It's always a pleasure to have you
always.
with me and collaborate. This is totally awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Can't be 2001. That's 22 years. So yeah, we're gonna get the direct details, y'all. We're gonna get
Right.
the
Don't worry.
details.
We'll find out the correct information
That
soon
was
enough,
Diva that
guys.
one. So y'all
Soon
don't
enough,
take
y'all.
2001. That's why I stopped Diva as soon as she said 2001. I said, hold up, let's just make sure before let's check with her before you say anything because
Right.
he gonna hold on to that 2001 so hard because
Right.
that would be his only escape.
Right. And don't
But
forget, guys, please hit that like button on your way out. All right, guys. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you put the notifications on all so you can get anything I upload or go live. And for those on the replay, please leave your comments in the comment section below. Make sure they're not disrespectful. You won't get blocked. Okay. We can keep up the conversation on R. Kelly and Kwame Brown. All right, y'all. And shout out to Ears to the Streets TV. Please make sure you subscribe to his channel. Can somebody please put his channel in the chat for me? Thank you.
y'all make sure y'all put Diva Divine link in my chat. Make sure y'all go sub up to Diva Divine. We have
Yes. Subscribe to both the channels. Thank you,
we still
guys.
got 153 people in here, so y'all go sub up to Diva Divine Light, and we gonna see y'all on the next round. I'll see y'all
Yes,
later.
sir. Yes, sir.
Big
My
man,
brother, you already know.
I'm out y'all
One
area.
love. One love, baby. All right, guys. Um, okay, so do I do it like that? Wait. Oh no. Okay, no. No. Okay, no. All right, so we're still live. All right. Are we still live, guys? Do I have to end my live too? Or is it done? Let me know, guys. Am I still linked up to I have to end the live? All right, so I'm going to end the live. I'm going to end the live, guys. You already know. Thank you for coming. I love you guys. Peace.
You are watching Diva Divine Light.
You can fuck with me if these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. Hit the scoop, I can get them both. I don't want to choose, and I'm quick. Cut every nigga off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now, I make money move. Now I gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now, that means I don't fuck with you. I'm a boss, you a worker, bitch. I make bloody move. Now she say, gon' do what a hoop. Let's find out if you Cardi B. You know where I'm at, you know where I be. You just a party, I'm there, I can play. I be in and out the bank so much, I know they tired of me. Honestly.